You know that first no experience run? Throw it in the fucking trash, because in this YouTube hellscape of 3-hour long video essays and balls to the wall challenge runs, just doing a no experience run of a game doesn't cut it anymore. That's not even getting into how a lot of the fights in the original video were extremely unoptimal. Plus I broke my no gill toss rod breaking rule. I was heavily inspired here by Seer's ridiculous challenge runs of the NES versions of Final Fantasy 1 and 2, and maybe 3 will be out by the time I upload this, and I started thinking of how I could up the ante on my own channel. My mind immediately went to the most obvious: no experience, no ABP. Before starting this, I'm honestly not even sure if this is possible, but fuck it, we're doing it anyway. I'm keeping Gil on though, because if you turn that off, you have to rely on stealing stuff to sell, and that's tedious as shit. I'll just leave that to the minimum experience runs in GBA. Believe me, I'll have no qualms about turning that Gil multiplier up to 4 times if I need some equipment or items or magic or whatever. Also, no Gil toss or rod breaking this time for real. I wash my hands of the failures from last run. So a lot of the early fights are extremely similar to the original run, so let me just take this time to go over some other things. So no ABP has a few obvious implications here, the primary thing being that you can't give something like magic to anyone else. If I want blue magic, I gotta use the blue mage. If I want summon magic, I need summoner, and so on. Giving blue magic to summoner was one of the best strategies, like just in general, because the summoner had the most magic at 22 for Ferris, so that was enough to use like Deathclaw or something. No such luck here. Every job can only do one thing, absolutely no mixing and matching. I can't even put ribbons on people. This also has the pretty major side effect of limiting the freelancer's usefulness. They're not useless at all, they get some love in this playthrough, but no inherited stats or passives or fucking anything severely hampers their practicality. The bigger thing is no learned abilities, so no control for tougher encounters, no flee or smoke for easy escaping through every area, and no mix. My saving grace, my child, my darling, my fucking drugs, and my main source of damage boosting is completely gone. Whereas the first run was being carried completely by the chemist, everything now falls on the bard's shoulders. And it's got until World 3 to get its shit together. But yeah, no mix, no dual wield, dual cast, rapid fire. All these crazy Final Fantasy V staples are completely null and void, but that does make the endgame look a lot less samey. Also, an admission of guilt. In the original run, once I unlocked the Masamune, I turned encounters off completely. Flee combined with always going first meant that all fights were a complete waste of my time, because there's no regular encounters that are inescapable, so it's purely a time-saving measure. I will not be doing that here, because there is no free, guaranteed escape anymore. LR escape works great for like the first half of the game or something, but as soon as you get to Exodus Castle in World 2, shit becomes unrunnable so fast, and I seriously want to know how the game calculates escape chance. There's a few thousand of you out there watching this. I know at least one person will bring the receipts, someone always does. I'll bring up other escape methods as they become relevant, but suffice to say, escaping from fights is not the cakewalk that it was originally. It's actually something that I need to take into account. And doing LR escape like that in Pixel Remaster is especially annoying because they fucked up the ATB gauge so you get pot shot at the start of every single battle in the game. It got extremely old, extremely fast. I hate this shit. This also had the kind of interesting side effect of me not being able to get the Elven Mantle in the Castle Waltz basement, but I didn't really end up needing it, so it was alright. I definitely did try for like 30 minutes though. But you could just assume that every time I need to run through an area, I'm doing it with some combination of Thief for preventing back attacks, Ninja for giving more preemptive attacks, and Bard for the occasional stop song to give me more time to escape if required. All the high agility is nice too, even if the random ATB gauge amounts meant that people went in random order sometimes. Seriously, why did they do this to my precious gauges? Liquid Flame demonstrates our first major deviation. Thanks to the Achievements run, which is a phrase I hope to be saying a variation of a handful of times, I now know he's vulnerable to Confuse. Unlike in the Achievement run, which is not a phrase I hope to use much, this incarnation of the tornado was more than willing to smack itself over and over to make me keep wasting MP on keeping him pacified. The best thing about this is that any damage he takes takes during the confusion state, including his own self-damage, does not count towards the form change counterattack, meaning I can throw around as many Blizzaras as I want, MP notwithstanding. Near the end of the fight, I get a little too antsy for no reason and just start throwing out attacks in a desperate attempt to end the fight right there, and I'm extremely lucky that it worked out for me. But oh, that luck won't last forever, believe me. Also, if I ever need money for something, just assume I'm farming on these wolves with ×4 gil on for now. I'm not going to be grinding to get like a full set of all the history rings, but I'll definitely be stimulating the world's economy enough to cause a recession when I leave. On a side note, until I get enough gil to have a comfortable stock of ethers, this place is awesome for farming them because these robot guys have them as a common steal. Fucking sick. The castle escape is much more problematic since this is the first instance of the encounters being practically inescapable without flee. I don't know why I reiterate my desire to understand how fleeing works in this game, but any encounters will seriously hamper my ability to get through this place in a timely fashion. I can get lucky sometimes by abusing Goblin Punch and hoping my shields save me, but there's no way I can rely on that for the whole sequence, let alone the rest of the game. The saving grace of this place, and really just the run as a whole, is quick save and autosave. I won't blame you if you consider that cheating. It's basically just officialized save states, but, well, I need something here. I generally avoid save state abuse in the SNES and GBA runs because it's not part of the actual game, but for Pixel Remaster, if it's in the game, I'm gonna abuse it. Although I guess the encounters toggle is an exception to that. But I'll be honest, the rules that I've set for myself are completely arbitrary, inconsistent, and made up, so thinking too hard about it is a waste of all of our time. Anyway, I don't care about any chest in this place except for the Elven Mantle, so that's what I book it towards, and the chest enemies are super annoying. First off, I pretty much have to reload this chest encounter until it's a single Gigas. Gigas? Whatever. Because dealing with 2 extra enemies when I'm this frail is not gonna work. Second, my original strategy was just to sleep sword him, but of all enemies in this game, this is the guy that's been taking 16 5-hour energies a day for the past year, so he ain't dozing off anytime soon. One attempt I almost got lucky and drained his MP so he couldn't nuke me with Era, but he just punched me in the soft spot and I'm dead. Eventually, after so many resets, eras, and just getting bumped in the head one too many times, my strategy devolved to use rod-boosted aura spells and hope that Ferris doesn't eat shit. Not my most graceful strategy, but it worked, and the Elven Mantle is mine. After retrying for the better part of an hour on that one chest, I decided against going to the other side for the knife, and just wanted to get out of here as fast as possible. Just like the original run, I abused Sleep Sword heavily, but unlike last time, I am not going for Deathclaw. As mentioned earlier, I can't put blue on other jobs, so that means I can't use Deathclaw until I get a gold pin, and by that point, Deathclaw will have lost most of its usefulness. Blue Mage is just 1 MP short, such a bummer. I tried to get Fusion on my way to the library, for what reason I legitimately don't remember, but I forget that it costs 13 goddamn MP for some reason. This means that right now, Ferris is the only one that can use it, so even if I wanted to use my non-Ferris party members as an emergency substitute ether, that is not happening without a gold pin. Going through the library, it hurts knowing I won't be able to pick up level 5 death here in World 1, but we all have to make sacrifices. Ifrit's not too bad though. He can definitely just decide to obliterate someone when he wants to, but he gets shredded so fast by Blizzara, Spellblade, or otherwise. And Byblos, just like last time, is cast into the void, and the library is done with no big issue. As you might expect, Dorm Chimera is where I really start to lament the loss of control. If you do this yourself, I don't even have any advice. Literally all I can tell you is just put slow on it and pray to some deity or esper or whatever that it doesn't wipe you with Aqua Breath. Eventually I do get lucky enough. Throw and Aura Magic is carrying me so hard right now, which spells disaster for the Sandworm. While a captured Chimera isn't enough to one-shot it, you do have to hit it with some other attacks first. Aqua Breath being usable this way still makes the fight infinitely more doable than without it. I legitimately don't think this would be feasible without the Dorm Chimera coming in like a pit bull into a room full of kindergartners, because his quicksand move just does a flat 60 to everyone regardless of job, equipment, abilities, or social status. I hate this fucker. Now the real issue presents itself, the desert. For some reason that only Super Famicom developers could explain to me, the encounters here are basically impossible to escape from. Even though these fucks can escape no problem, and my damage output is not good enough to survive through an entire dungeon of these guys. And even with abusing Sleep Sword, my MP and Phoenix Down reserves are gonna go eventually, because I don't have the patience to farm for tons of those right now. After like 20 minutes of this, I decide to leave and think about what I can still do, and the answer is quite a lot. I've been speeding through the main story, putting all the side stuff off until I get the airship, and that was a stupid thing to do. I take my black chocobo around the world and get some great stuff, mainly the great stop song that makes a bard a mainstay on the party at all times, and lots of throwing scrolls for the ninja. Bard and ninja are definitely the two MVPs of the whole run, I am not joking. Throw by itself takes care of so many bosses and encounters, and Bard is the ultimate support job during a run with low MP pools and no mix. Also in licks, this is something I hadn't noticed until now, but the cutscene of Bart's mom dying is fucked up by the existence of widescreen since she's not being hidden by the 4:3 aspect ratio anymore. It seems like a pretty big oversight. Also, I guess self-destruct can miss? That's news to me. Coming back from those side events, I introduced the concept of water back into this half-a-mile long stretch of desert, and easily make it through to Crayclaw. Another boss that I should have originally easily pounded into the wood of the airship, I just throw some lightning scrolls and he's out of here. And hell yeah, we have the airship. The dark flame grinding begins. You better believe that I'm leaving World 1 with 99 ethers, because I had no idea how easy or hard gil farming was going to be once I left. And obviously death scythe farming, because yes. If there's something I greatly appreciate about the Pixel Remaster airship, it's the leniency of landing in the airship dock, because the thing is so fast in the original that it's really easy to just keep skipping past it even when you swear you pressed left or right for one frame. This happened repeatedly in the achievement run, but I didn't record it. I know you believe me though. It's happened to you. While I'm appreciating Pixel Remaster, because I'm not going to do this very often, job switching is so fast, it's amazing. Since I'm constantly switching between actual combat jobs and thieves, the time saved from old versions has got to be in the minutes. Speaking of death scythes, die! The Berserker has a pretty big agility penalty, so since the damage doesn't matter, I always go full Freelancer when using these. I have a very strong feeling that Missile might be useful later since I skipped on Deathclaw, so I make sure to grab that. I probably should have had the same thought about Flamethrower in retrospect, but the Aura spells are already starting to lose their damage practicality, so half MP Fyra isn't going to help that much. Soul Cannon, second verse same as the first, and I backtracked to take care of a couple things, because fighting all those Thunder Weak things reminded me of my lack of summons right now. Be honest with me, this is probably just straight up cheating on the Shiva fight, right? I completely forgot about this lady until now, so this is just a formality, but I still really like the fight from the original video, so I'm not too broken up about this. And already I feel justified in getting Missile. I stand by my choice of placement in Missile in the Blue Magic video, but just about every spell can have its own niche given the right circumstances. Gravity works here as well, obviously, but Missile is cheaper and hits 25% harder. The funny thing is that I don't even think I'll ever use Shiva and Rama, but that's true for all but 3 or 4 of the summons, so they're not unique there. Obviously Summon is still extremely useful even in this run, but I still wish I could use it more often. The Ronka Ruins are uneventful, running away from everything is no issue, even from the Hydras and Ghidras. Seriously, what is up with the desert? Archaeoavis, I tried to be cheeky with the Ronka Knight and Aegir strat, but sap-related cheese like that must have been patched out, because it didn't work. And I tried like 5 times, so I just fell back on my original strat of throwing 500 water scrolls until he drowned. And for that I get the least useful crystal in this run. That's kind of an insane thing to say about Chemist and Samurai, but with no Gil Toss or Mix, their asses are not contributing. Time for the Meteor bosses. Purobolos was a fight I cheated with Gil Toss last time, but now I understand the full power of Stop Song and Throw, so these guys are smoked. Is this functionally any different from Gil Toss? I don't know. Dorm Chimera follows Adamantoise's footsteps, and Titan is the most difficult, but I have my own brute force strategy in mind. Refight him until he doesn't round 1 Slug Ferris to death, throw scrolls until he dies, avoid the quake by floating. Very reliable, no issues here, nope. As I promised earlier, I'm doing lots of gil farming before I leave. My first goal is stopping by Istory to grab a flame ring for a future boss, but I end up not using it for that purpose, so I feel pretty stupid watching this in hindsight. I also made good on stocking up on ether, so I'll never have to worry about that shit again. A full heal always being one consumable away is a nice feeling in a run where you have double-digit health and are perpetually staring death in the face. It's on to World 2. Things have been going well so far, no major roadblocks yet, and if I just jinxed myself by saying that, then you can all go to hell. The first Gilgamesh fight in the original run definitely had issues, but the new way is way funnier. Walk into his room and blast his ass with an anti-aircraft cannon. Missile is great. The second fight is still a pretty involved one, same as the original run. I at least paid attention to when I inflicted slow on him, that's already a huge improvement. Since I took so many notes from the achievement run, instead of trying to brute force my way through the fight with Ketch, I used Mute yet again to make the second half easier. Luckily, Blue doesn't give a shit about silence, for whatever reason, so I've got Knight Bartz swinging old around, Goblin punches to hit that ×8 damage once Gilgamesh matches our level, and Ferris, unfortunately for her, becomes dead weight with no available magic after using Mute. It made the fight super easy though, so, you know, sacrifice wasn't in vain. You know how I said the Moogle Waterway is one of my least favorite dungeons? It's still true here, and not because it's more difficult, but fuck that. We finally get Teleport, our only guaranteed flea in the whole run. LR Escape is only going to get more difficult from here, and looking ahead a bit, the Chicken Knife is similarly too unreliable to use for the entirety of World 3. The biggest problem is the MP cost. Ferris can still afford a single teleport, and 2 with a gold pin, and it would have been 3 if Time Mage Ferris had 1 singular point more of MP, and that means that after every other fight I have to chug an ether. This is the main reason why I stockpiled them in World 1. Obviously having more MP during bosses is great, but actually getting to the bosses in the first place can sometimes be the real challenge. I grabbed the Cornego Gourd on the way to Drakenvale, another reason why Missile will be so useful, and escaping from enemies here is still an easy territory. Ninja and Bard continue being the MVPs whenever I do need to fight, and my Death Scythe luck continues its streak. Wait, no, I shouldn't have said that. It finally caught back up to me. However, Galuf does just decide to be the better player and just not get hit ever, demonstrating why he is the best character in Final Fantasy V. You remember when I would farm for 4 Reflect Rings in every one? Thank God I don't do that shit anymore. Hey look, the Flame Ring was useful after all. Oh. Water Scroll gives me the gold pin, which is the only notable thing to happen here. I don't even know why I'm bothering with this guy, and I swear I remember Metamorph being one of those impossible to run from fuckers, but no, Keto's Cave was just boring to go through. The Forest of Moor, I alternate between burning down and fleeing, depending on what my horoscope said, and I make a pretty major error in grabbing the Flame Shield instead of the Aegis one. I always grab Aegis because it's generally more useful, but I'll explain that shit later, actually. Also, it's legitimately cool that they added in a burned forest battle background in this version. That was a very noticeable omission from the original. But okay, the crystals. It's funny in retrospect that I put so much effort into the original level 1 fight when they can be cheesed so easily, but here I've got time to explain my thought process. We got crit HP Knight going, naturally, and I have 3 rangers using the insta-kill bow. First off, apparently the flash that happens when the insta-kill procs is just gone now for some reason, but more importantly, I'm using rangers because they have higher agility than the freelancers, and I'm using the bows instead of scythes because how I'm assuming all this shit works. So thanks to comments, I know that spell accuracy takes level difference into account. I've said that exact sentence probably like 200 times in the past month, but with these crystals being level 77, that's pretty bad. I also know that moves like Rapid Fire and Aim will bypass moves' extra effects. Most people know that with the Chicken Knife Flea being skipped. Now, with the Mediocre Jobs run, I also know that Crit Chance is not bypassed by that, and I know that this bow's insta-kill effect is not the same insta-kill that the Death Scythe uses. It's its own thing. My thought is that because of that, maybe the 8% chance of insta-kill is just a flat percentage and does not do that level difference shit? Does this make sense? Am I explaining myself well enough? Is this even true? The strategy worked either way, even though it took for goddamn ever for the last crystal to die. I get the first 3 in like a minute, but the last one wants to hang on to dear life like it's got something to live for. Okay, before we head out to finish World 2, we've got Gill Turtle. I uploaded a video that's just this fight if you want to see the whole thing, but the gist is crit HP Knight with the Bone Mail and Genji Gloves to avoid the debuffs from the turtle counterattack, 2 Requiem spamming bards for the most free damage, Goldpin Ferris using fire on Bartz's flame shield to get healed from the sap. What I should have done is gotten the Genji helm from Gilgamesh in the castle, then used the flame ring and gotten the Aegis shield from the forest, but again, I'll get into that way later. If nothing else, I'm just glad that the glaring hole from the original run has been filled, even if this fight was dumb as hell. Oh boy, Exdeath's Castle. The lower floors start off so innocuous, not having any problem with escaping, but as soon as the red sets in, this is what the rest of the dungeons will be like. You cannot run from any of these guys easily, necessitating teleport abuse. I have 99 ethers, so this isn't necessarily a problem, but because of this game's penchants for constantly pot-shotting guys before they can act, a lot of times my time mage will get slapped before I can teleport away. Once again, I praise the convenience of autosave, because this would have been the most tedious thing of all time due to the dumbass random ATB gauge thing. Something that's also notable is that unlike GBA, this version does not reset the step counter for getting into random battles. If you quick saved 1 step away from a battle, you're gonna be doing that battle in 1 step. In terms of game design, of which I'm not an expert on, this is probably a good thing to prevent mega cheese like in GBA, but for me, playing this dumbass challenge run, this sucks mega ass. It's difficult to express through this footage how tedious this felt, taking forever to get through every single room, but I'd say Exdeath's Castle is the worst it gets because of the lack of Hermes sandals. Once we get those, the gauges don't matter since Ferris will always get to go before the enemies, but this place hits the worst possible middle ground. At least we have teleport. This is another thing that makes me question the complete ability of this run without it. I came in here with not nearly enough Phoenix Downs, and yes, I stocked up on 99 ethers but never bought any fucking revival items for some reason, so I reloaded an earlier save and went through the whole dungeon again. Frustrations were still the same, but at least I could just vomit feathers at people to more consistently get through. Let's just skip to Carbuncle. I tried so many times to cheese this bastard with the Death Scythe and Killer Bow, but neither of them worked after like 10 tries with each weapon. So missiles back, baby. Healing Carbuncle is supposed to be level 1, by the way, but I'm not busting out Libra to check. I guess this is what I get for getting excited over my Death Scythe luck. Gilgamesh, throw Flame Scroll. And Exdeath, I am not fixing what wasn't broken. Blaze Dragon be upon ye. I was legitimately worried that I was going to have to rely on 4 Blaze Dragons on several late game bosses, and at that point, what's the difference between doing that and just spamming Gill Toss and Rod Breaking? But luckily I didn't have to do that. Catch will still make appearances, but nothing so repetitive as that. Good thing I know this thing is vulnerable to sleep now. I do have some trouble getting to the pyramid because those desert enemies have a lot of health and aren't weak to water unlike the first desert, but eventually I just teleport my problems away. And also, Chicken Knife. I tried for a few battles to test the practicality of giving it to a thief and praying, but well, no. Another boss weak to sleep. Throw, 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 throw. I am not opening a single chest in here other than the gold pin. Man, the mecha headroom is gonna suck. I have no clue how I'm gonna dodge all these stupid ass robots. Oh, the S in Melusine stands for submarine. I mean, sleep. I mean, submarine. Luckily, the overworld encounters are easy to escape from, not that this really matters, because I just airship from A to B, but it's nice not to have to worry about it if I ever do step foot on the ground. I'm gonna need a lot of gil for all these rings, so pardon me while I slay the world's Villias. So at this point, I'd received a comment in one of my posts that level-related buffs go away when you die. I did remember that being true for Dragon Power, having to constantly shit out Dragon Fangs in the original run when I got slapped with Vacuum Wave or something against Neo Exdeath. But upon really thinking about it after that comment, this is going to be a humongous problem if the Sing buffs work the same way. I did some weak encounters to test this more thoroughly, and I discovered a couple things. First, the buffs don't go away when you die. The speed buffs from the agility song, the levels from the level song, it all stays through death, which is a huge relief. That made me so confident for the rest of the run. Second, while I knew that Dragon Power could increase your level past 99, I never bothered to check if Sing did the same, and it does. Probably it goes until 255, and more importantly, I'm glad that Pixel Remaster didn't change that. I haven't said a variation of this sentence in a while, but the wiki is wrong about that max levels 99 thing. I'm glad I decided to test that now. The Island Shrine, I got really lazy with using teleport, but the encounters are all easier to escape from than Exdeath's Castle. Plus I bought tons more Phoenix Downs with all that Villia money. You know, I completely forgot that Wendigo is vulnerable to sleep. I looked up my original video video completely clueless about what I did, and boy did I feel silly. Half the bosses being sleep deprived in a game with a guaranteed sleep move is a choice, to be sure. Oh yeah, before I leave, I need to grab something I've been dearly missing the whole game. Level 5 death! Yippee! Stopping by Phoenix Tower to grab some reflect rings, it's Fork Tower time. And no, I did not go up Phoenix Tower again. I don't care. Teleporting up the magic side is easy enough, but I had a hell of a time going up the physical side. And look, believe me, I know my gameplay is not optimal. I should really be putting more brain power into a run where I can die in one hit. But my tolerance to nonsense meter has been out of whack for the past few hours of gameplay of getting pot shot before I can act. My mind is not in a good space mentally, even if I did have the morale boost from the sing thing. I don't even have good advice here again. I just kept reloading autosaves and hope I'd escape in time. With enough team killing intent, I set up exactly what you think and humiliate Minotaur and Omniscient easily. Even with level 1 guys, the sea trench is wiped by Requiem, and Odin makes fools of us all. History Falls is weird. Most of the encounters either went down easily to some scrolls, or could actually be escaped from no problem. Leviathan naturally stands no chance against my 900,000 lightning scrolls. I really wish that Mystic Knight could use the gold pin so my other guys could use Breakblade. It's exclusive to Ferris in this run, which fucks up a strategy I thought of later. Now for Bahamut. Next to Neo X Death, this is probably the most tense fight in the game, but in a good way. While you can set up your party really well with Flame Rings and Carbuncle, you're always in danger of him deciding to wipe you with a random Aqua Breath. You can pretty comfortably assume that Bard is coming in for any fight that can't be cheesed with an insta-kill or autopiloted with Throw. Level Song is this run's equivalent to Dragon Power, after all. The party setup is also fairly expected. Since we're rocking Flame Rings, I gotta bring a Time Mage to set up haste. Plus, it's always good to put slow on bosses, especially this guy who could just decide to kill you when he gets pissed off. Lena is our main damage dealer, and I guess I lied a little bit about Samurai being useless, and Ferris is here to predict Mega Flares with Carbuncle and look pretty. Timing that full party reflect right before getting hit with Mega Flare is such a dopamine rush. Look at that fucking damage. That's the only time you're seeing that number in this run. It's against this dumbass. Before starting the final stretch, I go fishing for a little bit, and I'm not even bothering to find out if I can LR run in this place. I'm at the end game, and I want out of this hellhole as fast as possible. Califasteri's fight is just about identical to Omniscience, and a panda can use my Afraid of Ifrit knowledge to make this easier. I feel like he cheats sometimes, though. Like, I thought the idea was that he wastes his turns curing his fear, but sometimes he'll do that and then instantly smack someone to death. After learning that, I always just had Ferris ready to immediately sick Ifrit like an angry guard dog, and she can use it 4 times before needing another ether. Not a hard boss, just a little more annoying than I expected. Azomagia was no questions asked the weirdest fight in the whole game. First off, what the fuck? Second, what the fuck? Third, alright, yeah, you get it. With 3 level song bards, it's fun to watch the chicken knife damage noticeably increase every turn against this guy. Hey, it's Harlecarnassus. This is totally a normal fight. Not a lot changed from the last boss, just having Ferris put us some Golem protection, and Lena doing Time Mage shenanigans. I gotta revive someone from that 9k damage holy once in a while, but this ain't so bad. Now for Twintania. I got a level 5 death with your name on it. Just gotta survive a few turns. Oh. Ah. Okay, I think I see the problem. I fucked up like 10 hours ago. So, you have to survive 5 turns until Twintania turns level divisible by 5. The first 2 turns are simple. He either does a regular physical attack, which will more often than not hit something other than Ferris, or he'll do a fire or ice attack which gets nullified by the flame ring. Or he can put on the flame and ice shield and hope he doesn't do the opposite element attack. The next 3 turns are where things get fucked up. Mind Blast, I can put up Reflect with a white mage or use a Reflect Ring, but Wind Slash I am completely fucked against. There's no way to reduce wind damage or dodge it, and it's not like I can put hide or jump on the blue mage for this run like I did last time. Believe me, I did this fight so many times trying to get a run where he didn't use Wind Slash because I didn't want to admit something that had been in the back of my mind ever since World 2. I should have gotten the Aegis shield. And I have another save from before the forest, so I could just reload, but that's so much gameplay that I don't want to redo. But hey, luckily, Halicarnassus, of all the fucking bosses in this game, has the Aegis shield as a rare steal. So that's easy, just reload and steal it, right? That shouldn't be too... Okay, I literally have 90 minutes of me trying and failing to steal the Aegis shield. I actually hate knowing that Pixel Remaster is a different game than the original 5, because it was making me doubt if Return would actually let you get the other steal. I started doing quick save and reloaded if I got the Staff of Light. I would alternate quick loading and using Return. I know that 1/16 is not good odds, but 90 minutes worth of footage worth of bad odds? I was losing my mind here. Is this where my early Death Scythe luck came to bite me in the ass? This is no questions asked the worst luck I've ever had in Final Fantasy V. I was actually starting to wonder if I just completely fucked myself, and at a certain point sunk cost fallacy kicked in. Like, at what point would it be better just to restart from World 2? But I was not planning on finding out. I was fully committed, and then... From here, I was freaking out. I knew I had to not fuck up this boss now, because if I screwed it up, that would be another 90 minutes down the shitter. Thankfully, this fight went even smoother than the first successful run, but I'll be damned if my heart wasn't about to burst out of my chest. But you know what the funniest part of this whole ordeal was? I missed the other free Aegis shield in Istory Falls. No one say the word Aegis to me anymore. Alright, well, I have the shield, but Twintania is still a crapshoot. It does take several attempts for Wind Slash to get nullified on every use, but it does happen, and I finally get to make progress. Also, I got the rare Murasame drop. I hate this game. With Necrophobe, I get to show the results of my fishing trip earlier, an instant wipe on the barriers. God damn, those tidal waves are strong, an easy shortcut to Necro himself. Now, while I did bring in Crit Knight again, it doesn't completely neutralize him. He has Hurricane to bring someone down to even nearer death, and he will abuse that with Vacuum Wave, which I completely forgot inflicts Sap. Luckily, Ferris doesn't have on the Bone Mail, so a simple potion will bring her back up, but when Necro here does Hurricane to 1 HP directly into Sap, then fuck you. Also, we can just use Death on someone sometimes. Again, fuck you. And if someone dies in this fight, I can't use the Sage Staff to revive someone directly into critical health. My party layout is pretty strict here. I definitely need the 2 Beastmasters for the tidal waves, I need a Bard for level song so this fight doesn't get dragged out too long, and I need Knight for the one thing that Knight does. But actually, after a few attempts, Bard isn't the catch-all I thought it was. I was wondering why the Faraga from the Flame Lash was doing so much until I remembered. Oh right, he's weak to every element. Dumbass. So I swapped out the Bard for a Ninja and started the scroll spam for the final time. Whether this was a good or bad idea is up to you, the viewer, but it worked, so... you know. And, I kinda hate to say this, but for the final boss, I need more of those shields. At least one of the enemies here has them as their rare steal, but you were there for that Halicarnassus shit. You wouldn't be looking forward to this either. Oh. I hate this game. The big bad X-Death, the fight this whole game has been leading up to. Throughout the whole run, I've been thinking hard about what party to use, and this is what I came up with. I'm actually going to skip ahead to Neo X-Death because this first part is literally just waiting around for Level Song to do its thing, with spamming Phoenix Downs and Gold Needles as necessary. I'm sure you're wondering what the fuck Dragoon is doing here, so let's finish this thing. So right off the bat, thanks to our boosted levels, Bartz and Ferris easily get off a starting break on the Almaguest section, and Darkspark on the top right. Obviously, the Magic Lamp is being spammed to get Odin out. That's a Neo X-Death classic, and with both of the bottom two taken out right away, the fight is on to kill the top left section quickly. Neo's first Grand Cross scared the shit out of me. This is by far the most deadly that move has ever been to me. Basically one-shotting 75% of my party instantly. I was so lucky that the zombies only decided to attack Bartz after someone else got revived, and I guess it's a good point to mention that this was was a first try. I don't even think Neo in the original video was done in one attempt. And thank God it was, because seriously, the first part of the fight is just so much waiting and Phoenix downing and gold needle-ing. I don't even have Libra to check what my levels are. I just have to make a safe assumption based on the damage that Lena and Bartz were doing. Speaking of, so my party layout is definitely a little odd, so we'll go from top down. Bartz I originally wanted to be a Spellblade with Breakblade, but as I kind of alluded to earlier, Mystic Knights can't use gold pins, and I continually forgot this fact throughout the entire run. So I went with the next best thing, the actual Break spell, and I was so relieved when Break worked first try. Almaguest is always the ultimate ticking time bomb during this fight. Broad boosted bios is actually a really solid damage option for him too, so it's not even like he was useless after the fact, although having to chug an ether in between every spell is a little annoying. Lena the Dragoon sticks out the most, but the top left section was the part I always was gonna have to just brute force, and since I knew it was a dragon type, why not go with a dragon killer weapon? Another benefit to using jobs with shields, and why it was a bummer to drop Mystic Knight, is the Aegis Shield's immunity to petrify. However, something I didn't know or remember was that White Hole still kills you in Pixel Remaster even if you're immune to petrify. In the original games, if you were immune to one or the other, White Hole just would completely fail. I at least didn't have to waste as many turns with gold needles, and the occasional magic block was legitimately helpful, but it still threw a big wrench in my plans. But yeah, Dragonlance Lena was doing big damage to that top left part, and for free, even if her accuracy was a little annoyingly low. We got Krill as the bard, naturally, someone had to be the support character here, and Ferris is here with Darkspark and level 5 Death. Out of all bosses to take tips from the achievement run for, I'm glad that Neo X Death is one of them. Obviously everything in the game is vulnerable to some variation of level manipulation and level 5 death, except for undead guys, but the achievement run made me realize that you only need a single Darkspark for it, so the only section I had to kill quote-unquote legitimately was the dragon one. The follow-up Grand Crosses were not nearly as scary. The worst part about it was Berserked Krill, but our levels were more than satisfactory at this point. If she wants to contribute a few hundred damage every turn, I say let her, whatever. Now, when I do kill that last section, I immediately went back into pants shitting mode because Neo did not waste any time doing his Act 2 turn spam every powerful move shit. And when Ferris went down immediately, I just had to hope that RNG would be in my favor. And as the game's final act of mercy, it was, and that is Final Fantasy V, completed with no EXP and no ABP gain. Abilities gained 0 across the board. I don't have like an ending monologue. I gotta go lay down.